Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to do something different, and this is going to be something ongoing, so I am excited. I am starting a book versus movies series. I love movies, obviously I love reading, and I have mixed opinions on whether I like the book better or the movie better. Sometimes I like them equal. So I wanted to kind of do a video series where I can talk about ones that I really liked and didn't like and why, etc. And yeah, I'm hoping that if someone hasn't read it but wants to read it will, or liked the book but hasn't seen the movie will watch it and love it. And yeah, I think it's good to do something different. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first one I'm actually starting with, I had plans to do another book before, but I recently ended up getting this audio off of hold, so I thought, oh, I'm going to start with this one. We're doing Matilda. That's right, Matilda. This is the first time I've ever actually read the book. Mind you, I did an audiobook. So, you know, reading it as an adult, I feel probably a bit differently about it than I would maybe reading it as a kid. But the movie came out when I was a kid, so I do have like a nostalgia for it, and I did want to actually read the book. So if you don't know, Matilda is about a young girl that is born to really kind of horrible people, like truly horrible people. And she discovers that not only is she a child prodigy, basically, she actually has telekinetic powers. She can move stuff with her mind, and it follows her journey into figuring out that she has this power and what her life's like with this family. And she meets her school teacher, Mrs. Honey, and the relationship that kind of forms there. So the book is by Roald Dahl, and it was released in 1988 to generally well. It had a pretty good reception when it came out. Roald Dahl actually, I think this is it was voted one of the best children's books of all time. And this is, I think, one of his only novels to actually get in that ranking. He has a lot of kids' books, but this one seems to be the most well-loved. So maybe because it has something to do with books. Interesting. Roald Dahl overall is a very dark writer, actually. Like, very, very dark. Some of his adult books, I have a short story collection of his. Yeah, it's up here. There's some really dark shit in there. And actually, like, some of these kids' books are dark as well. So Danny DeVito actually directed the movie, and it was released in 1996. So I was pretty young when it came out, and maybe that's why I have some nostalgia for it. And Mara Wilson starred as Matilda, and she's now retired from acting and she's doing something else, but she was fabulous in this movie. I thought she was so good. Actually, even Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman playing Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood were really, really, really good, and sold that character 100% all the way. Also, the actress that played Mrs. Trunchbull killed it. Like, even the description of her in the book, it was pretty bang on. I will say, the audiobook was narrated by Kate Winslet, and she did it beautifully. Like, she played the characters very well. You know, it was kind of good I watched the movie first in a way, because I was able to see things in a different order. There are very different scenes, but there's also, like, Danny DeVito kept it very faithful to the adaptation. Very, very, very faithful. Other than that, the book is written in England and the movie set in the States. They use the same kind of characters. They use scenes that play out the exact same. Like there's a scene where Matilda gets upset with her dad, so she mixes like bleach and dyes his hair. And it was actually very faithful. The thing is, in the movie, they did the hair dyeing scene and then a scene where she super glues his hat later on. And that made more sense, but in the book it's reversed. So she glued the hat to his head first, and then later she dyed the remaining hair blonde, where I liked it better in the movie. There's also a part in the movie that is fabulous that did not happen in the book, and it's the scene where Matilda and Miss Honey break into Miss Trunchbull's house and start like snooping around, and then she comes home, and it's a super tense scene, and oh my god, it was so tense. I think it's like the best part of the movie, and for that not to be in the book, it kind of like it kind of killed it for me, to be honest. I think if I read the physical book, I probably would have not finished it. I feel like even with the audiobook, I was kind of like, I don't care. I like there's another like Dahl story that I prefer. But I love this movie, and I don't know if it's like I have the nostalgia for the movie, and maybe that's why I don't like the book as much. The book has has a Goodreads rating of 4.32 stars out of 5. So this is very well liked, and there's like over 17,000 reviews on this book. Generally very positive reviews. There were a couple people that kind of agreed with me about pacing and that it was okay. I gave the book a 3-star, and I gave it a 3-star because Kate Winslet narrated the audiobook and killed it. So I think if you are going to read this, even as an adult, like it's not even like it's the writing itself. Like I said, Dahl wrote adult books, so even his kids' books are written very well, and you can kind of see how you would like it as an adult. Like you don't have to be a kid. I think they're pretty advanced for kids, actually, considering this is like a middle grade book, which is usually like I think 9 to 12 or 6 to 10 maybe in that area. So I gave it a 3-star anyway because Kate Winslet narrated the audiobook and she killed every single one of the characters she gave different voices to. And yeah, but the movie didn't actually make a lot of money upon release. Like it made under budget, so they didn't even make a lot of money. But I think now, as it goes on, it has like a cult following, and there's a lot of kids like me that grew up with it. It's one of my favorite movies, like from my childhood ever. I love it so much. I think it's so well done, and it stands up. And now, hearing how the book characters were, Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman, his wife at the time, nailed it. Like they sold Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood brilliantly. Movie has a 90% Rotten Tomatoes approval rating since September 2020, which is amazing, but I feel like that probably wasn't the case when it came out. And it's based on a 7.48 out of 10 average rating. So people did really like this. The character of Matilda in the book is a little different. I like Mara Wilson's portrayal of her better. Just the way the character, like, there's a point where she's having a conversation with Miss Honey in the book that I was like, oh, this like annoying fucking kid. Where when Mara Wilson played Matilda, I never found her annoying. I found her very mature and very believable. And that's, I think, what I like better, that she's more mature in the movie version than she is in the book. It also explains Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood's like Mrs. Wormwood does go to bingo all the time. Still, that's still a thing. And Mr. Wormwood is still like a con artist, but the cons that he pulls off in the books are like he's involved with some shady people. Like it's more complicated in the book. Like, he's involved with like shady people that were stealing the cars, and then he's refurbishing them or whatever. Whereas in the movie, he's just wanted for fraud by the FBI because he's like ripping people off with the cars. So it's actually more believable in the movie versus the book. I think especially for kids, like for kids to be able to grasp that. Like, kids aren't stupid by any means, but I think it's just a more cohesive straight through, because the movie is made for kids as well as adults, but kids. So I think it was just a little bit more cohesive, but the way that they describe the chokey in the book and movie are similar. The cake eating scene where Bruce is forced to eat the cake is bang on. Yeah, you know what? I think it's fun. I would say the movie, I would give at least a 7 out of 10. I would definitely, or 7 or 8 out of 10. I would definitely agree with this kind of rating, the average rating especially. The audiobook I gave a 3 out of 5. It's good. That's my like good grade. It just, I might have given it a 2 if I had read the physical book, because Kate Winslet was so good narrating the audiobook. So I think if you have kids, I think they would enjoy the audiobook. Yeah, I think they would like the book and the audiobook. And I think it is a fantastic book for kids, especially like a 6-7-year-old, because it tackles these also kind of like serious subjects. Actually, thinking about it now, it's super dark. Like, this kid is neglected and verbally abused by her parents all the time. Like, it's so dark when you like look at it in hindsight. It's crazy. Yeah. You don't like the parents in the movie, but they definitely tone down that neglect aspect, or they make it maybe a bit more flowery in the movie, where it's not as dark as how it's written in the book. Anyway, in book versus movie, my overall pick, if I have to pick one, I'm picking the movie. I like it better. I like Danny DeVito's adaptation far better than I like the book. I do. And even watching it, I watched it recently because it's on Netflix in Canada, and it still holds up. It's so good. It's so good. I think Danny DeVito did an excellent job. I don't know what he's directed after that. I know he's directed stuff before. I wish he would do more still. Like, he's doing It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and he's so disgusting. He's such a horrible person. He plays horrible people very well, surprisingly, because even as Mr. Wormwood, he's still horrible. So yes, I think I'm going to stick with the movie for this one. If you have kids, again, get them used to audiobooks. This would be great, because Kate Winslet plays these different voices that it sounds like a play almost. She killed it. She's so good. She's amazing anyway. Let's not sugarcoat it. That's it. So this is the first in a series. I'm going to do, there's so many adaptations out there of books, like so many. So I have so much I can work with, which is great. I want to do kids ones as well as adult ones. And I'm not going to limit it to just movies, because some books are adapted into like mini series or a series, so they're not off the table as well. So yes, if you have any suggestions for ones you would like to see, there's still a lot of movies I haven't seen, and there's a lot of books I haven't read, and I know there's adaptations of both. So again, I have a lot to work with. If you would like to see something specifically, please comment down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you would like to see more. I don't have an exit.